Hey, welcome back to DieCash Cars. So today I wanted to go through what I am picking up here late into 2022. What am I picking up for my personal collection? What am I picking up as an investment piece? Going through some of my mail calls here just to give you guys a little bit of a reference point. And again, there's no right or wrong answer. I'm not saying I'm buying this, so you should too, but just wanted to give you a reference point, go through what I'm picking up, and justify why I'm doing it. Spoiler alert, it's going to be a lot of JDM, a lot of Skylines specifically, and EK9s. Except for this guy right here, the 32 Ford from RLC. Just got this bad boy in the mail the other day. In fact, I got 4 of them from RLC and 1 more on the way. So a grand total of 5 of these 32 Fords, and I couldn't be more happier with this car. I mean, the pictures really did it justice, but in hand, it's another animal because this thing is just downright gorgeous. Ox blood, spectral flame red, and I'm being very cautious with this thing, not trying to get any fingerprints on it, not trying to deteriorate this paint. I got my antique gloves on. I mean, they got this thing detailed to the nines, guys. And the funny thing about this car is that it got a lot of hype and a lot of attention prior to the release. And then during the release, I feel like everybody disappeared. Nobody wanted to buy this thing. It actually sat on RLC for about 2 days. And eventually, what happened was Hot Wheels finally announced that it was going to be a numbered car. And my guess is originally it started out as a pre-order. Not enough purchases on it, so they decided to keep the production numbers low. And once it was determined that it was going to be out of production quantity of 30,000, then it finally sold out. It's not technically a first edition. 32 Ford has existed for quite some time in the mainline premiums. We've actually seen it in RLC before in gold, and the funny thing is I actually missed that one. I got on all 5 of my accounts, planned to get at least 2 or 3 of them, and for some reason it sold out before I could even have a chance. So similar to that release, I really thought this Oxblood Red Spectra Flame 32 Ford was going to be the same, and to my surprise it was not. But there's a lot of things to really appreciate about this car. I mean, obviously you got the different engine that they put into this car, have the opening door features, and the wheels on this car are really interesting. Obviously a staggered fitment. You got the skinnies up in the front and then the huge drag radials in the back. So when I close my eyes and envision what a hot rod looks like, I mean, this is essentially it. And I think Hot Wheels did a great job in capturing this car. I really do see that this car will have good value moving forward. And I'm not talking 100 plus, but retail price on this thing was around $38, $40. I'm guessing that in 2 to 3 years, we'll see it at least double, so $70 to $80. And I'm always on the hunt for a good deal on this piece right here. This is the RLC Nismo R34 that was just released earlier this year. You guys know I got quite the sad story with this. I had 5 accounts ready to go on the day of release, and I only ended up with 1. That's just how popular this car is. But as I predicted, the value of this car has come down quite a bit. It was in the $120, $130 range. Now it's currently in that $90 mark. So fortunately, I was able to find a fellow collector who was selling this piece right here for just $85. And even better, it's actually a low number, or at least what I consider a low number. It's number 979. So 3 digits out of a grand total of 30,000. And it's quite subjective as far as low numbers and how that actually impacts value. But if you go comb eBay, just type in Nismo RLC R34, low number, what pops up, anything that's within a 3-digit serial number, it's coming up at about $150 to $200. So that's kind of where I see this piece. Long term, it's still kind of up in the air as far as how these low numbers, or what's considered a low number, will impact the value. But nonetheless, I think it's just a cool piece, and I definitely needed to add more of these RLC Nismo R34s to the collection. I want to adjust your screens, guys. This next pickup is actually a 1/18 scale Nissan Skyline R34 V-Spec 2 in this gorgeous midnight purple 2. I purchased this bad boy from Model Car Houston for $265 a couple of months ago. Shout out to Mr. James Kim for always having the fire, always having great deals on these premium die-cast models. But this is a spectacle, guys. I mean, you should definitely have at least one 1/18 scale of your favorite car in your collection at all times, because that's how you truly appreciate the details in these cars. Of all the Nissan Skyline R34s within my collection, I did not have a good example of a 1/18 scale, and I've been kind of waiting for a good one to pop up on the market that was at a decent price. What I've been looking at up to this point are the older AUTOARTs and Ignition models, but those all predate the time frame in which I was even collecting and looking at 1/18 scales, and the prices on those have just skyrocketed in the $500 to $1,000 range, which is just pricing me right out of the market. And now AUTOART is coming out with these new releases. They're not technically die-cast, they are all resin, but they do have all opening features and the details are comparable. So when this one came out with the Midnight Purple 2 and the gold BBS wheels, I had to jump on it. I can honestly say that if I had my choice of any Nissan Skyline R34, it would be this one right here. Just a simple V-Spec 2 in this Midnight Purple 2, just the classic R34 body, specialty color. I know a lot of people would opt out for the R-Tunes and the Z-Tunes with the bigger engine and the wider body fenders. But those models are just so scarce and so limited in production that to obtain one of those in real life is probably going to be next to impossible. And I guess you could say any R34 at this point is going to be next to impossible to get. I think the ones that I've seen listed around that are legal and here in the States are in that $150,000 to $200,000 range, which kind of blows everybody out of the water as far as obtaining them. But I still feel like the V-Spec 2 is probably the best model that you can get still realistically. And that's the kind of logic that I transferred down into the die-cast world, which is why I collect mainly the R34 GTR V-Spec 2s. My other example that I have is this from Tomica. It's a premium model, 143 scale. It does have opening doors and active suspension as well too, but I thought these two would go well together paired inside of my collection. Secondary market on this AUTOART Nissan Skyline R34 GTR only goes for about $300, and to be perfectly honest, they don't sell very often. The 1/18 scale market is just not as fluid as the 164 and as fluid as Hot Wheels, right? This car, I personally bought this for my collection only, not really for an investment side of things. But I tell you what, it really does pay for itself because this thing is just gorgeous. And my plan is to just keep this thing as long as I can. And the last thing that I got in the mail this week was this 99 Honda Civic Type R EK9 Super Treasure Hunt. This makes number 7 for me, guys, and you guys know how much I love this car. Again, best Super Treasure Hunt for 2022, hands down. I mean, this is the one to get this year, guys. So this car, you guys might be wondering, how did I get it? Well, it wasn't a store find, unfortunately, but I was able to get a pretty good deal on this through trade. So there was a fellow collector. He was looking for the RLC Ford F100 in blue, which is the second release of that RLC. And I had one, fortunately. I pulled the trigger in the last minute to get one. This gentleman just wanted that car, and I had let him know that the values of the cars weren't exactly equal. Ford F100 currently right now sells on the secondary market for around $50 to $55. The EK9 Super sells for about $110. But what he did disclose was that this Civic EK9 Super is not exactly mint. So you can see there's a good bow in the card. There is a dent on the J-hook, and there's a little bit of edging wear there too. So I treated this as a loose EK9 Super, which on the secondary market sells for around $50 to $60. So in that sense, the trade was fairly equal. He was just happy to get the RLCP since he did not have an account to get one. Made the trade. This thing showed up in the mail. Couldn't be happier. To my surprise, and again, just being negligible, I did not notice that this is actually an international card. So I don't know if you guys know or not, but international cards are slightly more difficult to get just because the ratio of international supers in those 72 count cases are a little bit more slim than here in the US. So really fortunate to have this one, even with the beat up card. Happy to add number 7 to the squad. So that's what I got for you guys today. Just wanted to give you guys a snapshot of what I am picking up here in the last few months of 2022. Drop it in the comments as to what you guys are picking up for your own personal collections or for investment purposes. Like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time on DieCash Cars.